All right, so for today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this Gedore deburring tool. Now, this is, I would say it's multiple tools or multiple pieces from Gedore put together to make one tool. You have a bunch of different model numbers that create this tool. So your first model number for this guy is going to be your handle. Now, the handle is a plastic with a little bit of rubber kind of a rubber grip in there inlaid into the handle. You do have the Gedore name right there, and the model number for this is 676. So that is going to be just the handle. Now, I'm not sure where this handle is made. I don't think it's made in Germany because it doesn't say anywhere on the tool. So I would assume it's maybe coming from Taiwan, China, somewhere over in Asia is probably where the handle is produced, but the actual bit holder itself, which does slide in and out of the tool, is made in Germany. You can kind of see it right there, Germany right there, and then the model number for this guy is 699, and it is a 1/4-inch bit holder. Whereas the deburring tool is kind of a 1/4-inch deburring tool that slides in and out of the tool. These are made in Israel, and I'm not sure on the model number for this guy, but it does, like I said, kind of just, there is a magnet there on the inside that does hold that bit in there fairly tightly. As you see, it doesn't really want to pop out really easy. You kind of got to use a little bit of force to pop it out. So it is a nice strong magnet there on the inside. Now, a deburring tool is generally used for when you're cutting copper pipe. It's to take that inner burr out of the pipe. It's super important to deburr copper pipe or a copper line set when you are working with refrigeration line sets. And that is because the refrigeration is moving so fast. It's got a very high velocity going through the line set, going from the condenser outside to the coil on the inside, or if it's going from, if it's going from a rack house to the refrigeration units in the ceiling of a building. It's just the refrigerants moving through the line set very fast. And you don't want to leave that burr on the inside of the copper pipe, as over time the refrigerant moving so fast through the line sets, it can start to break away that burr, and it can start to knock pieces of that copper loose in your line sets, and it can either get clogged in your filter dryer. It can get clogged if you have, just a normal furnace AC that has a piston coil. It can get stuck in that orifice of the piston and not allow the right amount of refrigerant to go through, or it can work its way all the way to the TXB and it can mess up the TXB, and again, your unit's not going to want to work right. So that's why it's super important to deburr line sets when it comes to refrigeration. As far as plumbing, I'm not a plumber. I do heating and cooling, so I'm not 100% sure if it's really necessary to do with like water lines and things like that. I'm just a heating and cooling guy, so we'll get that out of the way, and we'll bring in a piece of copper pipe. This end is smooth, same with this end, but I'll kind of give you a general operation of how it works. So you kind of put it there on the inside of the tool, and as you see, it is chopping away at the inside of that copper, and it is taking some copper out. And it does make it very smooth. You can stick your finger in there and you don't have to worry about that burr catching. And it basically takes out the inside of that, like I said, that burr, so it doesn't break loose. And then here's all the shavings that kind of came out of the copper. I do have another piece right here. Again, this is what you want it to look like, nice and smooth. Whereas this one, you can kind of see that there is a little bit of a burr in there. And you want to take that out. Now, one thing to note about deburring pipe is you always want to keep it pointed down at an angle, and that way, especially for a refrigeration system, you don't have, if you tilt it back, those shavings are going to want to fall down the pipe. You want to kind of have it tilted down on an angle so that all the shavings come out. I know it can be a little bit tricky when you're working with a coil or you're working close to an AC and you don't really have a lot of play with a line set, but you generally want to try and keep it on an angle as much as possible. So we'll go ahead and take the burr out of this copper pipe. And as you see, all those little copper pieces falling out of the pipe. This is what you want to see. We'll go ahead and do that a few times. That should be good, and then you can stick your finger in there and you feel around. I can kind of feel that there is a little bit of a burr left on that pipe, so I will continue to go around and take it out like so. And you can see all the copper shavings kind of coming out. It's basically just a little knife that goes and cuts the copper, and that edge is a lot smoother now again, this piece of copper is a little deformed, so probably not something I would use normally, but for demonstration purposes, it works great. So that burr is taken out of the inside of that pipe, and you can see all the little copper shavings and stuff that came out of those two pieces of copper. Now this guy doesn't just work as a deburring tool, so if you want to take this little guy out, you lose this guy, break it, can't get replacement bits, I'll get to that in a minute. You can still use this as a tool. You can use this as a 1/4-inch nut driver or a 1/4-inch hex bit will go into it. So I just have a Milwaukee bit right here. That guy will chuck into it right there. And it is a fairly nice bit holder right there. Not a lot of play. Now I'm not sure if you could chuck this guy into an impact or not. Or I'm sure you could chuck it into a drill driver and be fine. An impact, I don't know if this guy is impact rated or not. But you can chuck a 1/4-inch shank bit in there. And you can also take this guy out. Go ahead and put that little bit back in there. Before we lose it, you can take that guy out and use this as a 1/4-inch bit holder as well. Now with these little bits right here, they don't really have a long shank here for this guy to grip onto. So you kind of have to push it in there all the way, but it will lock on to the bit. And it is a nice, has a nice hold on the bit, but it will push it down there. So maybe you had a screw in a tight location, and you want to take it out by hand, you could. Now, what this tool, or at least this handle likes, is the bits that have this kind of a little bit of a longer shank right there. So you can, sort of lock it in. And that guy, you're going to have to use some force to pull that guy out. So that's kind of what this tool likes. As you can see, the bit driver that goes into it that has the deburring tool on it kind of has that longer shank on there, and then it kind of stops once you get to the actual bit holder itself. And we'll do one more bit here. She's got this Klein bit right here, and again, it'll slide right in. And you basically have a little miniature 5-in-1 screwdriver right there with a nice small compact handle. So now getting back to the the tool itself, it's a nice little tool. Now the one thing about this tool is it's made in 3 separate countries. So if you do happen to lose a part of this tool or break a part of this tool, it is probably going to be a little bit challenging to maybe get a replacement part. I know these little deburring bits are made in Israel, so it's very hard right now for some of your U.S. suppliers to get their hands on these bits. I know Casey Tool used to carry these bits, and I think they ran like $10, $15 for one of these bits. So they're a little bit expensive to have, but now they don't really have any of the bits in stock, and I believe they said this tool is out of stock currently and not available for pre-order because they just can't get parts to rebuild it or replace it. So the bits on this tool are a little bit hard to get your hands on. Now you can go to third-party sites, you can go to Amazon. If I could find some links for the bits, I will drop them down in the description below. So that is one thing to note about this tool, is if you are looking to get parts for it, might be a little bit hard to do, especially if you break the deburring tool itself. So with that being said, that's kind of all I have for this video. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comment section below. That's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching.